Swanky.
Right now, a really inspiring young man. We've got Weston Imer here. He's the RNC Youth Advisory Council member.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you for the blue microphone. It's my favorite color. I had a speech prepared, but I decided to throw it out with bathwater because I feel like just the direction this room is going. First, I want to thank Representative Weinberg for his remarks today. He's exactly right. We have to get involved. You have to get involved at the grassroots level every step of the way. That is the only chance we have at retaking our country. So as Andy mentioned, I'm a member of the Republican National Committee's Youth Advisory Council. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a second. And there's a handout on your table. This is a voter outreach plan that I presented to the Republican National Committee in September at our last council meeting. So I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. But before I do that, I'm also an elected official. I serve on the Pleasant View Water and Sanitation District Board. You actually are sitting in Pleasant View right now, so welcome to Pleasant View, Colorado. We are not a city or a town, so we don't have an actual designation, but we do have a special district and a water district, and I'm proud to be on that district board. My grandfather served on that board for 28 years. He was also the district manager, and I'm following in his footsteps, serving my local community. So, as an elected official, thank you guys for coming out. I wish more people would show up like this at our board meetings, because I don't think we've had public comment in the entire 2 years so far of my term. So I'm up for re-election next year as well, and hopefully the Democrats don't figure out who I am and come after me, but if they do, I'm sure you all will be there to help me win that re-election. So, on the Youth Advisory Council front, as mentioned, I was appointed earlier this year to the Youth Advisory Council by Colorado Republican National Committee man Randy Corcoran. I was appointed to the council. The council was created by Ron McDaniel after the 2022 elections. You know, we thought we had a red wave and had a red splash. So she looked at the outreach activities of the Republican National Committee and really realized that we had to reevaluate what we were doing on the national level to reach voters, especially youth and Gen Z. We had a youth outreach director in 2022 and did not turn the results that we were hoping for, obviously. So she directed her staff to create the Youth Advisory Council. This council is made up of elected officials, commentators, political activists from around the country, myself included, but some big names that you probably have heard before, and if you haven't, you'll hear them now. Brylan Hollyhand, at the age of 12, he created the Truth Gazette, a conservative newspaper. He's the editor-in-chief of that. It's actually widely popular. There's a lot of guest columns in it. If you've not looked at it, I highly suggest you look into the Truth Gazette. Then C.J. Pearson from Prager University, he is on the council as well. As mentioned, several elected officials, several from Texas and Florida, but my personal favorite and one of my closest friends on the council has actually become Riley Gaines. She is on the council. She's a good friend. Talked to her earlier this week. You know, a lot of big things are happening there. She just promoted Real Women's Day, or XX Day, on October 10th of every year. So she has a petition up right now on her website. If you go to RileyGainesCenter.org, you can sign that petition to support Real Women's Day. So if you don't know who she is, definitely look into her. She competed against Leah Thomas, the transgender, now transgender female swimmer, in the National College Championships. Riley tied with Leah, and they gave the trophy for the #1 world swimmer to Leah over Riley, even though Riley tied with this transgender man that is playing in women's sports. So Riley is in the good fight. She's fighting for everything that we believe in. She's a huge ally of Log Cabin Republicans. Definitely support her. I also want to thank Log Cabin Republicans for having me before I delve more into the outreach from the RNC. I mean, you guys have been there for me every step of the way over this past year. Some of you may know I had a rough couple months there when several Democrats and several establishment Republicans decided it'd be fun to out me publicly. Little did they know, pretty much everybody already knew, including my family and my friends, so it wasn't a shock, but they used it as a point to attack Dave Williams, our state party chairman, because I currently work for him, and the Republican National Committee. And out of the gate, Lockout Republicans was there to support me and comment and help fight fire with fire when the media and Kyle Clark were coming after me. So I want to thank you, Val, and everyone on the board for standing up for me over the past few months. It has meant the world to me and my family, and I will be eternally grateful. So thank you. Lockout Republicans has been partnered with the Republican National Committee nationally for a couple of years now. Ron McDaniel introduced the Pride Task Force, I believe is what it was called, last cycle. That was widely helpful to reaching out to LGBT folks in the community, getting them into the Republican Party, teaching them that, look, the Democrats are not here to support you, as Ron Weinberg just said so aptly. The Republican Party is the party of freedom. They are the party that is going to embrace you and tell you that you can do whatever you want and be whatever you want to be as long as you vote Republican. So Ron is exactly right there. So LCR has been a big piece of the RNC. You have the Spirit of Lincoln Gala coming up actually here in just a couple months. But back to the Youth Advisory Council piece. The Youth Advisory Council, we have several outreach programs that are in the works to reach the youth. But before we go to that, this was what I actually had in the closing of my speech, because Val was asking me to talk about the youth outreach we were doing. And I have to say, no matter what we do at the Republican National Committee, it is imperative that you all in this room and watching later on at home or watching on my social media later when this goes up, encourage the youth, embrace the youth, and promote the youth. One of the biggest things I personally have run into is ageism from every facet of the Republican Party. This comes from the top down and the bottom up. It does not matter where I've gone, what I've done. My age has always been a problem for someone, somewhere threatening to get rid of me because I was too young to be in politics, or I was too inexperienced, or I was too dumb to be in the political spectrum that I was. When in reality, I was very well educated. I knew what I was talking about 99% of the time, and I was always eager to learn. And instead of being met with a helping hand and teaching and raising up and almost coaching as to what I was doing, I was met with, you're too young, you don't know what you're doing, sit down, shut up, look pretty in the corner, make us look good. That is my biggest piece of advice to everyone in this room right now. Do not do that to Generation Z. Nothing is more discouraging than that to my generation and to the millennial generation and the generation that will follow. Many of us are prodigies in our own right with what we're doing. A lot of people come up in my generation having this uncanny knowledge of certain facts and certain things in this world. For me, it was politics and aviation. So I excelled at both of those. For some it's music, for some it's art, for some it's math. But the biggest thing you have to remember is do not treat these kids as kids. Treat them as your equals. That is the biggest thing I can say to you about youth outreach. Bring them in, encourage them, train them, teach them when they don't know. But I know I have a hook coming here in a couple minutes. So as far as the outreach goes from the Republican National Committee, we have a lot of stuff rolling out. Who in this room has heard of Bank Your Vote or seen Bank Your Vote content on social media? Okay, keep your hands up. Now those of you that raised your hand, who signed the pledge to Bank Your Vote? Okay, all right. Bad. Val didn't sign the pledge? All right. Okay. So now those of you that put your hand down and those of you that didn't raise your hand, I want you to take this piece of homework. That entire pamphlet on the table talks about Bank Your Vote. And it talks about a new thing that we're going to be adding to Bank Your Vote that I proposed. So I want you to go home or do it right now on your phone. I want you to go to bankyourvote.com. And I want you to sign the pledge to bank your vote and vote early in 2023 and in 2024. Over the past 10 years, the Republican Party has, well, actually, let me ask you, over the past 10 years, how many elections do you think the Republican Party has won the pre-election day vote count over the Democrats? Raise your hand if you think we've won at least one. Well, you're going to be wrong. We won 0. Over the past 10 years, the Republican Party has never won a pre-election day vote count. So what that inherently causes is when every Republican goes to vote on election day, there A, is not enough polling places. B, there's not enough time. C, the lines are too long. And D, people don't have time to vote on election day. So we then lose vote counts inherently, whether we have the voters to make up the difference or not, because people were not there to vote ahead of election day. So please, please, go bank your vote, vote early, get out the vote. The Youth Advisory Council has been huge on promoting that. We are also rolling out a lot of college game day stuff. We're doing tailgates. CU Boulders on our list, thanks to Coach Sanders. So we'll be having college tailgates with the Youth Advisory Council members, going out and talking to everybody and getting them involved. We also have several other things coming in the future from the Youth Advisory Council. So if you want to learn more, come talk to me, but I felt that it was on my heart to say exactly what I just said to all of you, because that seemed more important than reading a scripted 2-page speech about what the RNC is doing, because what is more important is what you are doing to help your community and what you are doing to help promote the generation that is next that will lead this country back to prosperous. So thank you once again, Weston Imer. You can find more at westonimer.net. Go bank your vote, vote early, vote on October 16th when you get your ballot, and let's win this thing. Thank you.